Protect your DNA. BioPQQ can promote formation of new mitochondria. Infowarsstore.com.
We celebrate the 4th of July as a reminder of earning our independence from a tyrannical and oppressive government. Just a reminder to the Obama administration, there's plenty of room on the calendar for another holiday.
Welcome back. Now, one of the big words that we're hearing, a big buzzword, you're hearing it everywhere now, is white privilege. Check your privilege. And all of this microaggression. You can't even make peanut butter and jelly sandwiches and stuff like that for school because that's racist. Some people didn't grow up eating peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. Now we've got a racial microaggression campaign. This is a racialized college group, and they are warning white people that white people, your race is taking up space and silencing others. So they have this classroom where they can go in and they have this stop on the door like, hey, yo, before you come in here, check your privilege, white person, because you're taking up space.
You can check a person's attitude, but the fact that I was born white, that's something that I can't control.
Right.
No one can control how they were born. Are you going to tell a person to check the fact that they were born handicapped? Are you going to go after them for that? What you can do is you can try to change people's attitudes, but I can't change the way I was born. It's not my fault that I'm white and that some white people a long time ago did some bad things, because I've never done that. So I don't have to check anything.
That's completely ridiculous when you think about just the phrase, like, you're taking up space.
Right.
You know, like, how can you just walk? You're taking up space, even though I don't know you from anybody on the street. You're some guy who just walked into class. You got a college sweater just like I do, but immediately you're bad, or you need to check yourself before you walk into the room. It's
I thought
outrageous.
we were trying to move away from all that.
Yeah, I don't know, Jakari. You kind of sound like a terrorist. Now, this is a really hard-hitting report from John Bound on white privilege and what it's really all about.
MTV, the youth division of the government propaganda arm of the military intelligence industrial complex, the very same network responsible for the transformation of a once flourishing free market of creative artists into a homogenized corporate Illuminati parade of talentless drivel, is unleashing its Divide and Conquer series based on white guilt.
Okay.
If you say the wrong thing, then suddenly you are a racist.
We've never had to internalize what white people have done in America, but here, you can't escape that.
You kind of get this feeling that things belong to you.
I'm getting uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable.
Hey, this is great. Let's get all uncomfortable together.
Jose Antonio Vargas appears to be regurgitating the work of brown-eyed, blue-eyed, white guilt founder Jane Elliott. In 2009, Karina Knoll of the LA Times reported that soon after Elliott became a controversial figure, she left her meager teaching job in Iowa to rake in an average of $7,000 per lecture from companies, colleges, and governmental institutions. The real numbers of crime statistics have steadily dropped according to FBI statistics, but the government brainwashing bureaucracy would have you believe the opposite. And so it goes for the poll numbers and obvious disintegration of racism in America. Now, a generation decades removed from the rampant racism of the 1950s is expected to feel guilt for a past most people their age can't even coherently explain. Rather than accept the government as the real progenitor of privilege, whether it's the prison industrial complex where almost 90% of 1 in 9 American black males are incarcerated for victimless, usually petty drug charges and forced into corporate slavery, or the massive crack infusion into black neighborhoods by the CIA, drug cartels, and big banks.
I'm letting you know right now that the establishment is using hip-hop to prime these kids for a life that's gonna send them to prison, just like they did with me.
Or simply the millions of taxpayer dollars used to show recent presidents and their first ladies a good time. Those in power know true privilege. But Americans are supposed to believe that some snot-nosed 20-something mixed heritage white kid who probably comes from a middle-class family with struggles no different than the mixed heritage black kid he is supposed to have some upper hand on is the evil mastermind behind a system meant to keep other mixed heritage people down based on skin color. Here's a newsflash: racism is dead. Or at least it's been dying its natural last breath for nearly a couple of decades amongst the common people of America. Sure, it's alive and well within the militarized police and the downtrodden cities segregated by government policies, alive and well in the rhetoric of the mainstream news media.
There are too many white liberals in the media. And the reason they're not attacking Barack Obama is because of some type of white guilt. You think your ancestors may have owned slaves. You have no fact that your ancestors owned slaves, but the guilt is killing you.
Alive and well in White House talking
Another way
points.
of saying that is Trayvon Martin could have been me. There are very few African-American men in this country who haven't had the experience of being followed when they were shopping in a department store. That includes me.
The political classes are blatantly disconnected from the common reality. Americans of all stripes came together to wipe the scourge of racism from the American culture beginning in the 1970s. After shadowy elements of our own government gunned down our real leaders with what recent evidence reveals as a mixed bag of operatives and CIA MKUltra patsies. And now the Obama administration would have us divided and conquered. A new type of segregation is emerging. Americans are increasingly segregated by the content of their character. And approval of the characters inhabiting the power structure of the nation's capital is at a record low. For most Americans, things are tough all over, and under Obama's policies, getting tougher every day. The average American sure as hell isn't going to listen to a bitter illegal immigrant like Jose Antonio Vargas, clearly slinging the Cloward Piven divide and conquer strategy. So don't expect the majority of Americans to shoulder the blame. In the words of Bob Dylan, a musician from a bygone era when the First Amendment was revered, you don't need a weatherman to know which way the wind blows. There's a war on for your mind, America, and the first shots were fired long ago. John Bound for Infowars.com.
And so that basically sums it up. I mean, this is absolute insanity here. A war on for your mind, but the shots were fired a long time ago. And we talk about totalitarianism in the past, but the new totalitarians are here. And I read a really good article today out of the Federalist, and it's called "The New Totalitarians Are Here," basically breaking down. People kind of use the word authoritarian and totalitarian in tandem, but they're different, and it's kind of important to know the difference between those two words. Authoritarians merely want obedience, while totalitarians, whose rule is rooted in an ideology, want obedience and conversion. The authoritarians are the guys in charge who want to stay in charge, and they don't much care about you or what you're doing, so long as you stay out of their way. Live or die, it's all same to the regime. Totalitarians are a different breed. These are the people who have a plan, who think they see the future more clearly than you, or who are convinced they grasp reality in a way that you do not. They don't serve themselves, they serve history, or the people, or the idea, or some other ideological totem that justifies their actions. They want obedience, of course, but even more, they want their rule and their belief system to be accepted and self-sustaining. And the only way to achieve that is to create a new society of people who share those beliefs, even if it means bludgeoning every last citizen into enlightenment. That's what makes totalitarians different and more dangerous. They are totalistic in the sense they demand a complete reorientation of the individual to the state and its ideological ends. Every person who harbors a secret objection or even so much as a doubt is a danger to the future of the whole project. And so the regime compels its subjects not only to obey, but to believe. So guys, what do you think? I mean, have they taken all of this too far? Are they going too totalitarian, too fast? WorldNet Daily is reporting that the coming era of civil disobedience is here. I mean, do you think people are just going to say, enough, these laws are ridiculous?
I think we got a little bit further to go for that. You know, you've got some small little, riots happening from here, little places here and there, but I don't see an overall country as a whole really at that point? Do you saying, you know what, enough is enough? We got to do something.
No, I think Charleston was a good example of that because we have been to Baltimore, Ferguson, many other places, but you can see that it's not countrywide. There are people who are trying to handle things in a civil manner. So as far as a big overthrow, I don't see that coming. No.
Well, I mean, you have the people there with the Confederate flag. They're saying if you're going to take it down from the State House, well, then we're going to fly it everywhere now. So it's almost like throwing it in the face. Like if you're going to make these laws and rules, well, then we're going to disobey them because you're taking it too far.
Well, I guess they're having their First Amendment rights attacked, so they figure that they'll shoot back with flying them and buying them out. There's been a lot of, I was reading an article earlier today, a store in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, not that far up the road from Charleston. They are selling out of Confederate flag memorabilia left and right. They can barely keep it on the shelves because I guess that is saying, you know what, hey, you're going to take the flag down, and guess what?
Right.
And I think that's a normal reaction, regardless of what you think about the flag. If you take it down, people are going to try to put it up someplace else, and that's the same thing if anything is controversial.
All they're doing right now is making it more important in a sense. They're putting more light on it.
Absolutely. And I think it's going to blow back in their face. Yep. Absolutely. Well, guys, thank you so much for all the commentary. It's been very fun having you in here with me tonight.
And happy birthday to Jakari this week.
Yeah, happy birthday. All right. Well, thank you so much for tuning in. Check us out here. If you're watching us on YouTube, subscribe. We'll see you here again next week, 7 p.m. Central.
To celebrate the birth of our country and give a big thanks to all the info warriors out there, we are now offering free shipping on every item shipped out of the InfowarsStore.com warehouse. That's free shipping on all t-shirts, books, and DVDs. Free shipping on Molon Labe and 1776 belt buckles, which are also 25% off while supplies last. Free shipping on all of our InfowarsLife.com nutraceuticals. If it's in the InfowarsStore.com warehouse, it's shipping for free, all during the month of July. It's our way of saying thanks to the true heart and soul of this operation, who stand beside us and support us as we wage an info war for liberty and freedom for all. InfowarsStore.com, free shipping for the month of July.